Peace and blessings to the hearers and doers of the Lord's word. This is the awakening. I am Super Soligan, the messenger. I want to go ahead and get into this word for you. And this message here, I want to title Hiding from the Lord in Plain Sight. And living in hiding from God in plain sight. People do this. Everyone has been guilty of doing this. Every single one of us. And people try to do this into futility, hiding from the Lord. What I mean by this, some people be like, I don't even believe in God. I don't believe it. I don't believe in the Christian story or anything like that. Okay. Every single thing that is in the Bible, everything that that Christians preach and tell you, the earth reflects it. You understand? The earth reflects these things. History, there's more evidence for Jesus Christ than any other historical figure. We don't have as much evidence for other ancient figures and things like that as we do for Jesus. You understand? People have dreams. We don't know what they are. But we've noticed that you don't see anyone expounding anymore on that. People get freaked out by the things of the spiritual realm and they don't go any further. A lot of people run. You have some people who have become atheists, non-believers after being devout Christian. A lot of them will tell you, if you listen to atheist talk, a lot of them will tell you that they've had horrible experiences within the church. Do you understand? They've had horrible experiences. Those experiences will come from people holding them accountable. They'll say that, the church ostracized my family, or the church did this or that. Yeah. You were acting like a knucklehead. Your family was sinning, or they may have been doing things that weren't conducive for the church, and they got you up out of there. And some people just they came and just because the church was upholding the rules and the things that God says, people got turned off by that and they ran and they became atheist. Atheism, the only thing that is just a smokescreen, man. It's a mindset. It's just another religion to where people can try to pacify themselves in running from God. These are all people who have ran from the Lord. You understand? And these are all people who are scheduled for the pit of hell. You understand? There's no way of getting around it. They're scheduled for destruction. And they find you have you ever heard the saying, misery loves company? And when you notice when people abandon God, they don't want to follow the Lord, and they abandon all the good things of the Lord. They just go join another group. Have you noticed that? It's always joining groups. They're always looking for acceptance. They never find that. You never find the acceptance you're looking for when you're running from the Lord. That acceptance is in Jesus Christ. That's it. You're ordained as a human being to be in the family of the Lord. That is where you're most comfortable. That's where things work. You understand? That's where perfection is. It's where perfect harmony is. In the family, if there's no strife and infighting and conflict within that family construct. There's acceptance there. There's true acceptance. People run to other groups looking for true acceptance. No, these other groups pacify you in your folly and in your sinful behavior. They're pacifying you. You understand? That's like, let's just be real. Like if a person is an alcoholic, I know this because I used to be a heavy alcoholic. Now, if a person is a heavy drinker, do you understand? Or they do anything, meth, or a person is a sex addict, do you think, or a person vapes, a person smokes the vaporizer, the vape, the e-cigarettes, do you think that they're going to want to be around other people who do that? Or do you think they're going to rather be around people who preaching to them that this is harmful to you in the long run? This will ultimately harm you. This isn't your true self. Used to see these ads back in the day where they used to have them in magazines and the video game magazines where, and this was for marijuana. This is for weed. So they used to have the ad saying that, people that they would have a friend, like they were talking to another friend, and they would be saying you weren't yourself when you after you smoke weed, or you're not yourself after you taking drugs. You're not yourself. They will be letting you know that, and the magazine would let you know that that's a good friend. You understand? Society would look at that. Society itself as a whole will see that as being your good friend, because they're telling you that this stuff is wrong. But while you're doing it, while you're in sin, when you're caught up in that, when you caught in that and you hell bent on doing it, you don't want to be around other people. You don't want to be around contrasting opinions and things like that. You just don't. I mean, and that's the thing with people today. Other groups and all of these groups and people, they don't want to hear about the Lord. People try to, because they're stuck in their sin. They don't want to hear that what they're doing is wrong. In the LGBT, people aren't telling them in the LGBT community, people are not telling them each other that you're gonna go to hell doing living this sinful lifestyle. They aren't telling them that what they're doing is that they're transgender people, that they're living in confusion, and that their best life actually will be to get some self-confidence, to get some help so they can have self-confidence and be comfortable in their own skin. Even other homosexual people who know that it's wrong and who know that what I just said is true, that's a mental illness, they still won't tell them that. They'll let people go do this to their children. Convince their children that they're transgender at a young age. They'll let them continue in their folly, and we'll call that love. We'll call that care, that people actually care for people by doing that. Just letting them go into their folly, not only in this life, but in the next life, losing the salvation, the eternal salvation. That's not care. That's not love. People don't love you who do that. Parents who don't teach their children about the Lord don't love them. You understand? It's not about what you believe. Because the thing is you have people first account testimony from Christians and believers even to this day. We have the best testimony, which is the Bible, the word of the Lord, the history of God's actions on earth. And you have testimony of people today. People have been having visions since the beginning of time. Have been communing with God since the beginning of time. Do you understand? And people are doing it today, giving you their testimony. But you don't believe that. You don't believe what people tell you, from giving you out of credible testimony. You don't look at people, as credible at all. That you have a bias when it comes to God. Like, you'll take credibility anywhere else except when it comes to God. If a man has never been found to be a liar, never been found to, to really be making up stories, people who lie. If you can't spot liars and manipulators and things like that, then you need more discernment. You really do need Jesus Christ. You need the gift of the discernment from the Holy Spirit, because you can't decipher. People will be getting over on you at every instance. But if you don't know, like, that people, holy men of God, that's built, we're held to a certain standard. Like, we're kind of like held to the highest standards of morality, if you would, so to speak. And I'm not trying to say that to be on a high horse. I'm saying that to say that our religion confines us into doing certain things. Us being as followers of Christ, do you think that, like, that's the same thing with Jesus Christ. If he wasn't who he said he was, that makes him the biggest liar in history and the biggest liar ever. The biggest liar ever in the human existence, in the existence of the universe and history as we know it. That would make Jesus Christ the biggest liar. Now, for us, if we go around, people go around following Jesus Christ and saying that we holy, or are trying to follow him and just coming out making up stories, that's the same equivalent. Now, who would do that? Who would, like you have to think and use common sense. What benefit we're getting spit on, beat up, having losing the things that people see as good in the world for Christians? Like, what benefit is that to them? Do you understand? If it's not true, if that's all built on a lie, it's no benefit. You have to really use your discernment. Now, I'm in Christianity. I'm only talking about Christianity. In other, people use religion itself for control and gain. That's why you have so many other religions and denominations, because there's gain for them. As a Christian, when you're given, our religion confines us to certain criteria, and we are mandated to be selfless, to give more of ourselves than what we receive from others, turning the other cheek, getting smacked, getting, like I said, getting attacked by people at every instance, people being hypocritical against Christians. People become the biggest hypocrites against Christian people, against followers of God. They'll tell them again, but that's just part of running from the Lord. That's hiding from God in plain sight. People today just don't want to follow God. And when you don't want to do that, people hide from God. When God mentions this in the Bible, people trying to cover themselves and hide from the Lord. Jonah did this. Jonah himself, who got swallowed by the whale, God had a mandate for Jonah. And instead of Jonah following God's mandate to go preach his word and tell the people of the city of Nineveh to repent. And Jonah, what did Jonah do? He tried to run. He tried to hide from God. Do you understand? As futile as it is, people do that. And see, Satan is the king of this earth. He's given dominion here. And what I want you to understand is that Satan has power. Satan has power as well, and he's given by God. All of this is for the benefit of the Lord and for his purposes. You understand? God is going to get everything. God is going to have the ultimate victory, and everything is used for his purposes. This is how powerful God is. Even with us, some people just seem like I said, some people seem like they just never will get it right. They'll never follow the Lord, and God, you might see them getting blessings on the earth. All of these things, or they get put in positions of power on the earth. This is all for God's benefit, all for his glory. He allows that. He allowed Pharaoh to have power. It's all for his glory, for his benefit. You understand? But Satan gives gifts, and he has power, spiritual power as well. Satan can pacify people, and God also puts them under the strong delusion. He puts them under the strong delusion. Without that delusion, what will be revealed to them is their true self. Too many things will hit people at once, and I'm talking about, it don't matter. It does not matter if you believe or not. Do you get this? This isn't the movies. This isn't it. This isn't Freddy Krueger. We're talking about the creator. Anybody with common sense, children, know that you cannot get something from nothing. You as a human being had a creator. Remember the movie Prometheus, things like that. Now, I know those are films, but let's be honest. filmmakers and things like that. They're very intelligent. They study and go do. It's like Prometheus. The writers of that study ancient writings, ancient texts, all things. Religion. They studied that. Now those the human beings were known to have a creator, and they went and engaged. Now those beings were aliens, or you can call them whatever, but spiritual beings, and God, that's an alien being to you, to us. That's just a word. Alien is just a word that's actually in the Bible. You understand? That's just a word. And the movie told you that human beings were seeded. That gave you their version of creation. The Bible gives you the true version of creation. It tells you that human beings have a beginning. And we all know that humans had to come from somewhere, like from two people. They came from an origin of originality. Like there's an original family. Do you understand? There was an original, a first, and then to get what you have today. That links everybody up. That links everybody as family. God pretty much gives you the perfect harmony of life itself. He informs you of that. These children make sense of this. But again, atheists and non-believers and people like that, they are under the strong delusion. People follow internet talk, and this is how I notice people follow internet talking points about the Lord and about the Bible and the true history of the Creator and things like that on Earth. They'll ignore that and suppress that for internet memes and talking points without even doing the research themselves. Like people will just follow one thing because again, misery loves company. If you already leaning towards that, people try to follow. They'll follow that to pacify that, like their own the things that they're already leaning towards. We get that, but to not do research yourself, to not go study to show yourself approved for something that's dealing with your eternal soul is very foolish. Something that's dealing with the truth of your creation, your origins, something that's dealing with the greatest discoveries known to man. It's pretty foolish for you to just ignore that to something that you've heard somebody type on the internet, and you don't even know if what they saying, who they are, or what they saying is valid. Just because they say it, again, no, it's you think it's valid. No, it's because you're already made that up in your heart, and misery loves company. You're trying to follow them, and people, like I said, even to the all the way down to the coming of the Lord, to when the God comes back, you're gonna have people who are you're gonna have a lot of people who hiding from the Lord at the time. You're going to have people in such a strong delusion that they're going to try to fight against the Lord. You're going to have people, yes, when God comes back, you're going to have the world be under such a strong delusion from Satan, and they're headed that way right now, to where they're going to look at God as the enemy. And God gonna have to glass some things. Glassing, you know what that is? Glassing is when, basically just scorched earth. You just basically scorch a big area of something in an instance, just boom, and it's just vaporizing people, vaporizing things. Do you understand? The Bible speaks of the Lord of God as being a wonderful and terrible being to behold. Do you know that's a that is a scary thing, a wonderful and terrible being to behold for humans. If you were to see like God never revealed his full image. He didn't reveal his full image to Moses. People have only saw glimpses of the living God. But when you see the visions and the description of the visions that people have in the heavenly realm of the things surrounding the throne, you would be amazed. You've seen people make recreations of the depictions of the descriptions of these peculiar beings that are in heaven. You know, these things are powerful. God's very powerful. People run. And human beings would be like human beings would be are ants compared to the Lord. Like God tells you, I kill, I make alive. You have to respect the role. You have to respect your role in these things. And running from it's not going to do you any good. It's not going to help. People run from God all their life just to get on their deathbed, suffering and looking for answers. People people aren't on their deathbed wondering, I could have hit the club more, or I should have worked more hours. I could have made more money. What people on their deathbed, people on their deathbed wondering, where am I gonna go after this? What's gonna happen after this? The what ifs, they really start to contemplate those things, their mortality then. And it only leads you to one or two conclusions. You're either going to just be gone, or you're gonna wake up in the afterlife. And you know what? You have the ability to be able to figure that out now. Do you know how? You get a relationship with Jesus Christ, get a relationship with the Creator. You can commune with God, and you can be assured of the where you're gonna go, or can you see your loved ones, or will is there something else after this? Are there more to the earth? Are you just a flesh sack? Are you just gonna be a maggot food? Are you still gonna be awake when you die? Like, can you feel it after you die? All of these things will be answered for you, because you'll have a relationship. You can have a relationship with God and commune with that being right now. You sure can. People have already done it. I'm doing it. People have done it before you. People are doing it right now, and they'll give you testimony of that. And you can take it as you will, or continue to run to futility. With that being said, this is The Awakening. Peace and blessings to the hearers and doers of the Lord's word. And I'll see y'all in the next video.